Hello, students, and anyone else who may be watching from home. This is Mr. Borges, and today we're going to be talking about our next assignment, which is Part 7, Building a House in TinkerCAD. So here we are in Canvas. On our home page, there's a new button, as you can see here, for Part 7. We're going to go ahead and click on that. This isn't published yet, so I can't view it in the student view. Here we go, but this is what you would have seen. This is what you will see when you click that link. It says Part 7, Build a House in TinkerCAD. So this is the start of a new module. Right? If we haven't talked about this in class yet, don't have to start doing it yet. And so what are we going to be doing? We're building a house in TinkerCAD. There's a link here for you to click to sign in with your class code. Please, you need to sign in with your class code every time. Some of you are still signing in some I don't know what weird way, and I'm not able to see your projects every time you do it. Please, every time you use TinkerCAD, you need to click, right, your class code. So if you're fifth period, you click your fifth period class code. You would enter your nickname, which is the same as your school nickname, and you would click That's Me. If you're logging in any other way, I cannot see your work. Okay, so once you have logged in that way, you'll come back to this page and then click this link, which takes you to TinkerCAD projects. And here's the TinkerCAD project page. You can also get there from when you first log in and you're on your TinkerCAD dashboard like this. You can click the word Learn, and then you can click Projects. That's another way that you can get here. We're going to be building a TinkerCAD house. We're going to click this link right here. This is a 3-part project. It's worth a lot of points because of that. I want to see some cool houses, just so you know where I'm coming from. So I'm going to restart this project just because I was working on it a bit earlier, and then we're going to build a TinkerCAD house. So, right, build a TinkerCAD house. In this activity, you will follow along with the steps to create a simple house shape. After completing the activity, you'll be let loose to personalize your house further on your own. During the activity, you will learn how architects design a house and create a simple floor plan using the house you create. Right, so that's the big idea. We're definitely creating a floor plan. Some kids, for some reason, lose track of that or always forget to do that step. I know it's because they're not reading the directions. Okay, the first step is to design. The first step in design is to visualize the steps required to complete the house shape that's seen below. Right, so visualize means we're just thinking about what we need to do. So let's start by evaluating the components that make up a house design. Okay, so when you're looking at this image above, several characteristics should stand out. There's a red rectangular shape that makes up the walls. There's a green triangular shape that makes up the roof. There's an arched doorway in the front that you can see there. Through the arched doorway, you can see that the building is hollow. It's not just a solid red block, right? And then we're going to continue on to the next step. So first we're going to create the outer shape. Let's start and create the walls of the house with the box shape. So we're going to pull a box shape onto the work plane, and then we're going to size it to be 40 millimeters by 20 millimeters. Right, so we're going to size it to be 40 millimeters by 20 millimeters, and we want it to be 10 millimeters tall. There we go. Making sure it looks like the picture as we go. Going to continue on to the next step, and there's hints here if you do need hints. Okay, so create the shape to hollow out the house. Next, we need to create a shape to cut out the inside of the house. This is what's going to make the walls. You can see in the picture here that the walls are going to be 1 millimeter thick, and the way we're going to accomplish that is we're going to make another rectangle that's 1 millimeter gap all the way around. So it's going to be, the inside box is going to be 2 millimeters less wide and 2 millimeters less long, and aligned to fit right up inside there. So click the red box to select it. There we go. We're going to select the duplicate button on the menu bar, and all right, it's near the top left of the screen. This will make an exact copy of the block in the exact same position. Okay, then we're going to use the, all right, so then we're going to use the black dots on the model, this model right here, to shrink the shape 1 millimeter in every direction. Okay, so we could shrink it 1 millimeter that way, 39. We could shrink it 1 millimeter this way. So 38 can shrink it 1 millimeter this way. 19 can shrink it 1 millimeter this way. 18, there we go. We're going to use the white dot on the top to increase the height several millimeters, just to make sure that it's tall enough. Taller than the other box that we're going for. The change in the height is simply to help with shape selection, right? Because if the new shape we're making is all the way inside the old box, if the new box we're making is all the way inside the old box, it's hard to click the one that you want to click, to select the one you want to select. Okay, right. So the change in the height is simply to help with shape selection. By making the smaller box taller, it can be easily selected because it sticks up above the original box shape. The results should look like something in the image above, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this where I want it to go. And I'm going to use the arrow keys to nudge, and then make sure this really does look the way that I wanted. Sticking out 1 millimeter on all the sides. And it does look like the picture. Please note that I did look all the way around at all the different sides and from different directions to make sure. I want you to be doing that too. Okay, clicking next. We're going to hollow out the house. So once the model is properly positioned properly, the inner shape can be used to cut material out of the original box shape. This cut will hollow out the house and essentially create all the walls at once. If one shape is set to be a hole and the other object is not, grouping the objects together will cause the whole object to remove material from the other objects that it's grouped with. You should already be familiar with that from Group It or from creating holes, 2 projects we've already done. So we're going to select the inner block and use the shape dialog in the upper right. Here, we're going to use the shape dialog on the upper right of the graphics window to change the shape from red to a hole. When complete, the inner block will be transparent like the image above, just like the picture. We should always be checking the picture, making sure. Then select both shapes and click the group button. I'm just going to draw a rectangle around them to select them both. And I'm going to click the group button on the menu bar at the top right of the screen. The result of grouping the inner and outer shape is shown in the image below. Here's the picture. You should make sure that yours looks like the picture. If it doesn't, go back and undo whatever you did, please. Okay, so for the house to be functional, there must be a way in. So it's time to create a doorway. To do this, we will group 2 objects together in the final shape for that door. We'll make the shape a hole, position it, and then group the shapes. These are the same steps we completed in the previous steps to hollow out the house, but this time we're going to be creating a door. All right, so we're going to build a door shape out of 2 different objects, turn it into a hole, and then group it with our wall. So we're going to place the red box shape, and a round roof shape on the work plane. There we go. These shapes will be combined to make the door shape. The shapes at their current size are much too large for the house, but at this size they're easy to work with. We will work on positioning the models at their current size, then scale down the final door shape so it will fit the house. So I'm going to select the round roof shape and use the black arrow on top, which is the lift handle right here. I'm going to use that to lift the shape 20, 19, right? So 17, 18, 19, 20 millimeters above the work plane. Right? The same as how tall that box is, 20 millimeters. So now the bottom of the round roof is the same level as the top of the red box. Right? I'm a little bit off target too, but that's something else that I can adjust also. There we go. Continue. Then we're going to select the red box shape and the round roof shape. So I'm drawing a rectangle around them both, making sure my walls are not also highlighted in blue. Okay, good. I'm going to select the Align tool from the menu bar. So I've already aligned mine, but if we hadn't, we could make sure by picking the Align tool and then using the dots that are laying flat on the work plane. We're going to click the middle circle on each side. That's going to be this one and this one. Oops, that was the up and down. Did you see that? Don't click that one. The ones that are lying flat on the work plane. So we're talking then about this one and this one. And these are all already lined up now. But if they hadn't been, they might not have been, then we would have been able to use the Align tool, which I've been blabbing about in class a lot, to line them up, and line them up, to perfectly line them up. Okay. Once the shapes are aligned on top of each other, click the Group button on the toolbar to combine the shapes into a single door shape. So I'm going to select them both now and then pick the Group button. Right, Group. There we are. I'm going to use the inspector window now to set the door shape to a hole. So here's my inspector window. I'm going to set this to be a hole. There we are. Continue to the next step. Cut the doorway opening. To complete the door, we need to scale the door shape to be small enough to fit into one of the walls of our house. So we're going to select the door shape. I already have it selected, but if I didn't, I'll just click on it. I'm going to hold down Shift on the keyboard and keep it held down. And then click and drag on one of the white corner dots. Actually, it could use any one of these white corner dots. I'm going to click and drag to scale the object. Note that holding the Shift key will cause the scaling to be proportional, meaning it will scale the shape in all directions. Or in other words, it's going to be like a perfect shrink. It's not going to be a squish. If I don't hold down Shift, I get weird squishes. We don't want to do that, so I'm going to undo that. If I hold down Shift, we get perfect shrinking. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to scale the door down until it's small enough to fit into the wall. Something like that. Then we're going to select the wall shape and, so we need to place our, something like this, right? So that it's sticking through the wall. That's where we're going to put the hole. We're going to select the wall shape and the door shape, draw a rectangle around them, and align them so the door's in the middle. Okay, so I use the Align tool, and I can line them up in the middle. There we go. The image above shows where the door should be roughly positioned. Right? So make sure that you have something that looks like this. And that's what we've got, just like the picture. Once positioned, and with both objects selected, group the objects together to cut the door opening in the wall. So I'm going to click Group now, and there we have it. And we're going to continue on to the next step. Adding the roof. With the walls and doors complete, it's time to add the roof. Adding the roof can be done by dragging the roof object onto the work plane, raising it above the work plane 10 millimeters to match the top of the walls, and then aligning and sizing it. So place the roof shape on the work plane. Here we are. With the roof shape selected, I'm going to use the black arrow on top, the lift handle right here. Going to use the black arrow on top to lift the shape 10 millimeters above the work plane, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the bottom of the roof is aligned with the top of the walls. We're going to select both shapes, and then we're going to align the roof to the middle of the house and to one end of the wall shape. So I'm using the Align tool now. I'm going to align this. Align it up front to back that way, and align it up that way too. So there you go. Now this thing is perfectly aligned. Once aligned, select only the green roof. So I deselected by clicking on the work plane, select only the green roof, and use the black dots as its base to begin sizing it to be slightly larger than the walls. Right, we want it to stick out, same size, just a little bit bigger. 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 And that's nice, right? In real life, we want the rain and stuff to fall off the side of the house and not just be running down the side of our house. Right, then you can put rain gutters or something on there or whatever else. You want to be able to stand right here without getting wet, that kind of thing. All right. So, this is pretty good. It says, note, in architecture, the overhang is called an eave and is used for both styling and protective siding on the house. Once properly aligned, the house should look similar to the image below. Something like that. Make sure that your house looks something like that. Right, there we go. I kind of stuck my eave out a little bit, but all your houses are going to look a little bit different. Continue on to the next step. Okay. Group the roof and walls. You can finish the house by grouping the roof and the walls. Doing this will turn the building into a single color, but the multicolor option can be used to maintain the original shape colors even while they are grouped together. Select both shapes and group them into a single object. I'm going to draw a rectangle around them. Note, grouping the shapes should make them both the same color. So depending on the order the parts were selected, your house will either be completely red or completely green. Either is perfectly fine. What does it mean? If I hold down Shift and click on the house, the box, and then click on the roof shape, if I group them now, they'll all be red because I selected the red object first. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. So now if I select by holding down Shift, click on the roof shape, and then click on the box shape, if I group them now, they will all turn green because I selected the green object first. But what they're saying is it kind of doesn't really matter. So because step 2, to keep the original shape colors with the new group, select the new shape and expand the color panel from the inspector window. There you are. At the bottom of the panel, you'll see a checkbox called multi-color. Check this box to maintain the original shape colors within the new group. After checking the box, the color indicator in the inspector window will show all of the colors that are in that group. Right? So there you can see that. Okay, so congratulations. You have completed your TinkerCAD house. So that is part 1. So everybody should be able to do that. Then once you're done, you're going to click Done here, and then you're going to click Continue. All right, once you click Continue, it's going to bring you back over here, and then here you have your basic house shape again. So that's the big idea. So I'm going to continue this in another video. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this now, and then we're going to continue with this one.